Let's talk about Jedediah John Don Vance, a historically bad pick, genuinely generational talent in just like sucking. Let's take a look.
Vice presidential candidate JD Vance first reported by ABC calling for people without children to be taxed more.
We need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. So you talk about tax policy. Let's tax the things that are bad and not tax the things that are good. If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids. It's
boo, boring, too technocratic. You got no riz. It's not easy to comprehend. It's like an Elizabeth Warren style policy, a right-wing Elizabeth Warren approach to otherwise like super easy to understand policy making from the Democrats for once.
It's that simple.
The comments resurfaced after a clip of Vance questioning the leadership abilities of people without kids was already getting blowback.
He's doing what you always say you'd be able to do in pretending to be a really good Republican politician, except he's really bad at it. Yeah, I mean, he is. His instincts are bad. He is a charisma suck. He is deeply unpopular. And he is deeply unpopular in his own goddamn state. People that know him hate him. I told you that was the case, and here it is. There's actual data for it beyond my data points of the fact that Donald Trump chose a guy who was less popular in the state of Ohio, a deep red state already at this point, that gives him no benefit to the election at all. This like childless cat lady narrative paired up with the DEI is going to rip. It is already ripping. As I talked to Ested yesterday, remember, black people in general, brown people in general, like they know what DEI pick means, especially black people. They know what that means. They hear that every time. They're going to be like, even if they were down to vote for Donald Trump's charisma and Donald Trump's like macho image is not going to be good enough to overcome the steady flow of racist sentiment that they hear on a daily basis being reiterated from those in positions of power that they could potentially vote for.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable.
This is so good. It's so awesome watching these dipshits do podcast their talking points and then like running for president, running for vice president, thinking that this gets good play for the broad majority of the public. Attacking step and adoptive parents is actually insane. Combine that with opposing IVF and they're going to lose like even conservative leading people. These are some of the most personal decisions that people make. I know. It's so funny that Donald Trump literally recognizes how much of an electoral poison that is, that he immediately was like, whoa, we're not banning IVF. What the f are you guys talking about? Whoa, what do you mean? No, we're not touching IVF. Get the f out of here. And then like the Southern Congregation of Baptist churches got together and they were like, no, actually, we do want to ban IVF. What are you guys doing? And then he went and listened to his dumb son, Don Jr., on who to pick for his VP and went with this guy, a guy who has been incredibly much more restrictive than Donald Trump has been on abortion publicly, okay, with the way he communicates. And also a guy who's gone above and beyond further than that, constantly talking about like women should be having babies. They're broodmare is like, come on, what are we doing? They're baby incubators. They're baby incubators. They're baby incubators. If you don't have a baby as a woman, what the f are you doing? Americans don't like that. Even women that want to have children are going to be like, okay, bro, chill the f out. Like, what are you talking about? What do you got, a breeding fetish? What the hell is this shit?
And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Actress.
Now, when he turns around and apologizes for this, which he will, if he apologizes for it, then he's weak. He's already wishy-washy. He called Trump Hitler. Now he's Trump's VP and loves Trump. People already don't think that he's a genuine person. And now here's another major policy prescription that he had that he has to go back on. If he doubles down, he looks like a complete psychopath. If he actually apologizes, he looks like a spineless little loser. So ultimately, he is and this is precisely one of the reasons as to why I said he was a weak candidate from the jump.
He does worse in his home region at minus 16 points than he does in the average of all polls, which is a minus 5-point net favorability rating. So the people who know him best, the region that knows him best, they like him even less than America likes him. And of course, as you pointed out again in that kind intro, is he is historically unpopular for a VP nominee coming out of his first convention as the VP nominee.
All right, so let's specifically look at some former Republican vice presidential candidates. What do you see?
Yeah, you know, you mentioned Sarah Palin. How about about Dan Quayle as well. These are two folks who I think most people remember as not being particularly popular. The amazing thing was coming out of their conventions, they actually were pretty popular. Quayle with a plus 15-point net favorability rating. Sarah Palin with a plus 26-point net favorability rating. Again, Vance at minus 5 points is just off the charts and falling off the chart in the wrong direction. Not up above the chart, but down below the chart.
Once again, vindication for the Bergamaniacs. That's number one. Number two, Bergamaniacs, we could have had it all. Okay, we could have had it all. But number two, this is what happens when you listen to Donald Trump Jr. on who should be your vice presidential candidate. And last but not least, this is what happens when you go for a guy who is a, so far, one-term senator in Ohio, a state that you already won by 8 points, who literally won his senatorial seat with a smaller margin than you did, as in he's less popular than you in this already red state. And there was another Republican, the governor of Ohio, on that very same ballot that JD Vance was on, that outperformed JD Vance by like 20 points. That is insane. Mike DeWine, who is obviously like a little bit more moderate on a lot of issues that matter to Ohioans, and that happens. You got like, you'll have like sometimes a red governor in a red state that is not as red in his policies, that picks up a lot of votes from even Democrats and stuff. But like Mike DeWine was outperforming Jedediah Vance by 20 points, dude. That is insane that you did this. Like, it just makes no sense.
Are you a racist?
How could you not want this guy as your VP? This is what he ran on.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth. Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I nearly lost my mother to the poison coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan. I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whatever they call us, we will put America.
I love this on so many fronts, because like he wasn't even orphaned. He's acting like his mother died. Like, no, she didn't die actually. And also, she didn't get the fentanyl from undocumented migrants. Undocumented migrants play no role whatsoever on the trafficking of fentanyl, according to the Department of Homeland Security numbers. 90% of the drugs apprehended over the border are coming in through regular points of entry, and 91% of those apprehensions are conducted on American citizens. That's right. Not like actual card-carrying American citizens, not undocumented migrants at all. JD Vance's mother also was a nurse who was stealing prescription opioids from her own patients. So she had nothing to do with undocumented migrants whatsoever. Anyway, now having said that, great campaign ad. I don't know how that guy underperformed the Republican governor by 20 goddamn points. But also, as you guys know, it was partially because Donald Trump, too comfortable thinking he's going to bully an old man who was already like deeply unpopular, listened to his dumbass son, Don Jr. Here is Don Jr. trying to defend the JD Vance situation.
Like, there's some of them are like, we don't even want white women. Like, it doesn't, like, we need to check like 3 or 4 boxes so you can end up in like, if you're like, a trans communist, this, that, and the other, like, you too can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company with no experience whatsoever. He's actually spent real time with them. Like, and he's sort of, I would say he's the blue collar billionaire. And 15 years ago when I said it, people used to.
Dude, just show this over and over again. Show this in Ohio and Trump will turn Ohio blue. Okay, like ain't nobody is looking at this and going, yeah, no, this is a winning ticket. Like, no riz. When I say they're weird, this is what I mean, bro. They are gross. They are so gross that it's getting to a point where even other equally gross voters are like, oh God, I don't want to be associated with that.
Shit all over me. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't understand. And notion that, democracy is all things, but if the elite, meaning, Barack Obama, the Clintons, a couple billionaire donors be like, okay, this isn't working. We're going to take everything we gave you. We didn't give you any other options. I don't know.
Seems like it should be illegal
I'm reasonably fast. If you see me on Twitter, like, I'll get out a mean tweet in seconds. Right.
No, I'll get out a meme tweet in seconds, dude. Sick. That's what like a guy with an HVAC business is thinking about. I know I make jokes a lot, but like think about like an average American Republican. Let's try to imagine like your friend's dad or some shit. who maybe owns like a catering business. I don't know, living in Oklahoma. Like, I don't think that guy looks at this and goes, yeah, this is a winning message. Oh, this guy tweets really fast. I love that.
I want to take aim at the left, specifically the childless left, because I think the rejection of the American family is perhaps the most pernicious and most evil thing that the left has done in this country. Consider all of the next gen of the Democrat Party.
See, they're doing it again, by the way. It's like you're supposed to just say they don't respect family values and then let people make inferences off of that, which can mean anything. It can mean that they don't like gay people. It's like, oh, they want to trans the children. That's all you need to say. They don't care about family values. That is a message that resonates with normal Americans to a certain degree. When you dive into it and get real nerdy with it and you start talking about like, yeah, they don't care about family values, which when I say that, I mean like you need to strap up every woman that is capable of carrying a pregnancy to term to a baby incubation machine. All of a sudden you're losing all those people who are like, whoa, I just meant like family values. I thought we were talking about, you know, making sure that America had strong traditional values. Like you literally give the game away. It is the exact opposite of the Lee Atwater strategy, the famous Lee Atwater strategy of like, you know, post-civil rights movement, you can't say the N-word anymore, so you say welfare queens, right? They forgot that you need the dog whistle. And that's partially on Trump because Trump literally took the dog whistles and just turned them into bullhorns. So these guys think they can get away with it, but their instinct is so nerdy that they have to turn this into like some kind of scientific racism. That's the problem. They forgot that you just say they don't care about family values. And then Democrats try to interrogate that. And then you go, why are you asking me these questions? I just mean family values. Like you're supposed to stand on it and just like give a wink and a nod. McKinsley moment is right. He's talking like a goddamn consultant. We need to eliminate redundancies type shit.
The names are obvious. They're well-known people. Kamala Harris, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who's now the Secretary of Transportation, Cory Booker, AOC. Think all these people. They're different. They come from different walks of life, different parts of the country. What is the one thing that unites every single one of them? Not a single one of them has any children. Look, a lot of people are unable to have kids for very complicated and important reasons. There are people, of course, for biological reasons, medical reasons that can't have children. The target of these remarks is not them. It's important to point that out. It is one thing to recognize that there are people who don't have children. It's one thing to recognize that there are people who don't have children through no fault or choice of their own. But it's something else to build a political movement invested theoretically in the future of this country when not a single one of them actually has any physical commitment to the future of this country.
Oh, you know what's crazy? I don't know about Megyn Kelly, but you know who has foster children and no biological children of her own? Laura Ingraham. Like that's how close to the chest this is. There are so many Americans who are foster parents, so many Americans who are step parents, so many Americans who don't have biological children of their own. And this kind of argumentation just weirdly causes people like even Laura Ingraham to catch a stray. This is not Laura Ingraham. This is Megyn Kelly. Just letting you know, don't mix up your blonde Republican commentators.
So a few days after those remarks back in 2021, Mr. Vance went on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox to address some of the blowback. And that's when he made the comments about the childless cat ladies. Watch.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Well, the Harris team recirculated the comments this week, leading Democrats and the media, the same media currently rewriting.
You know when I get mad at rad libs for like leaning into the cartoonish depiction of like liberalism and the way that Republicans try to portray the entirety of the left as like hysterical, emotional, and incredibly moralistic woke scolds. Like there's no reason to lean into that message and become that thing that people try to portray you as. This is the Republican version of that. Democrats, not usually, but at least like as a whole, broadly, try to portray Republicans as these like bloodless sociopathic weirdos who are trying to do Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale is basically like the most common meta, right? Whenever talking about the Republican Party, especially post Roe v. Wade. Or Handmaid's Tale, not Handmaiden. I don't know what the called. I didn't watch it. Why would you literally voluntarily put yourself out there and be like, no, I do want to do Handmaid's Tale? My point is, in popular culture, Democrats will always post those fucking images to be like, this is what the future Republicans want. It's ironic that JD Vance was like, no, that is the future that we want, and here's how we get there. That's so stupid. What a stupid thing to do.
And saying that we should not have the child tax credit, which lowers tax rates for parents of young children. It's because they have become anti-family and anti-kid. And I'm proud to stand up for parents, and I hope that parents out there recognize that I'm a guy who wants to fight for you. I want to fight for your interests.
Yeah, no, that's definitely how you came across as. Also, wait, is he saying he's pro-child tax credits? Wait, what?
Has lied about this, that this is not about criticizing people who for various reasons didn't have kids. This is about criticizing the Democratic Party for becoming anti-family and anti-child. Why do we have the Harris campaign coming out this very morning, Megan, and saying that we should not have the child tax credit, which...
Wait, why is he saying that the Democratic Party is that even true? Wait, what? That's just a genuine lie, right? Yeah, Axios on Harris's agenda, $2 trillion for universal pre-K education, elderly care, and child care improvements. Wants to raise the corporate tax rate, revival of child tax credit expansion based on our efforts in the administration and the Senate. And the guy who's saying that right now has said two different things. One, I believe he voted against it, and two, not only did he vote against it, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta look it up. Hold on. The expansion of child tax credits. But also, he has literally said things such as like universal pre-K is weird. Like that's just like universal pre-K is like a bad idea. And it's like, yeah, here it is. Good news. Child tax credit bill is headed to the Senate. While POTUS and I continue to fight for the full expanded child tax credit, this bill should be passed quickly. President Biden is ready to sign it into law. That was in February. The Harris campaign came out against taxes for Americans with children. Remember this in November. Is that the new meta? Is just like to lie about it or something and to be like, no, we like the child tax credits? There's so like the media will pick this up and immediately be like, this is the dumbest thing that they could have ever said. And it also makes them seem like they're on board with the expansion of child tax credits, which as far as a policy prescription goes, is a Democratic Party policy that the Republicans voted against. Hey guys, on life support, Senate Republicans are prepared to sink the child tax credit bill, a $78 billion package of tax breaks for families and businesses passed in the House with an overwhelming bipartisan vote. But key GOP senators demand big changes or else. And if I'm not mistaken, one of those senators was Vance. No, Vance is among the growing group of Republicans who support expanding the child tax credit, which provides money to low and middle. Okay, I was wrong. He didn't do that poison pill. After Trump expanded the child tax credit, the passage of Tax Cuts and Jobs Act 2017, families are now eligible for up to $2,000. In 2021, he tweeted his support for a proposal that would give $12,000 tax credit to married parents who have children under the age of 13. But married parents. The Maggie Hassan part at the bottom of the article. Hassan's bill incorporated $79 billion tax package negotiated by Ron Wyden, House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith, who grew up in a poor family receiving government assistance, spoken positively about the elements of the Wyden-Smith bill, which includes an expansion of child tax credits for low-income households. The bill faces opposition from Senate Republican leaders who believe it would reduce incentives to work. Yeah. This is such a wild way to swing. It's such a dumb way because it's literally on the Republican Party that this didn't pass. CTC being a reduction in taxes for those with children versus increasing taxes on those without children are two different things. He's only supported the latter. Yeah, I don't think that JD Vance wants an expansion of child tax credits. I think he wants to tax people without children more. JD Vance's attacks on childless Americans is even vile. He called for higher taxes on those without children. This is exactly like the child tax credit. JD Vance, actually, you get less money if you're a single parent. Also, Vance opposed the American Rescue Plan, which expanded the child tax credit. Yeah, he voiced support for the Missouri Senator Josh Hawley's 2021 plan to expand the child tax credit, which included a marriage bonus and catered to two-parent single-income households. Millions of working people want to start a family and would like to care for their children at home, but current policies do not respect these preferences, Hawley said when the bill was introduced. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but childless Americans already pay higher taxes than Americans with children. You want to know why? Because you don't have dependents. Oh, this makes sense. Donald walked out on the family when JD was a toddler. When JD was 6, his parents officially divorced after his father left the family a few years prior. He reflected in Hillbilly Elegy how his mother informed him of the divorce by telling him he'd never see his biological father again. It was the saddest I had ever felt, he wrote in his memoir. Of all the things I hated about my childhood, nothing compared to the revolving door of father figures. One of the funniest moments about this is that his dad's name is Donald. That's crazy. Oh my God. His entire worldview is... I'm not a firm believer on the idea that like he got panned by critics when the Netflix show came out and that's why he became a Republican. I don't believe that. That's when he became like a Trump guy. I don't believe that, but I do believe that this is the reason why he's constantly talking about like no fault divorce.
The Democrats in the past 5-10 years, Megan, they have become anti-family. It's built into their policy. It's built into the way they talk about parents and children. And it's time that we called that out. I don't think we should back down from it, Megan. I think we should be honest about the problem.
Here's
That's
what's crazy.
awesome.
It's not just Senator JD Vance, Republican and running mate to Donald Trump, saying that.
That's awesome. He's doubling down on it. That's great, man. He's doubling. He's like, every time I say family values, understand that I think women should be cows that are bred.
Catastrophic problem. And it's interesting when I raise this issue about we don't have enough babies, a lot of liberals and a lot of people on the left will say, well, we can just replace American children with immigrants.
That's not what people are saying at all. It's because it's far too costly to have children. People just can't do it because surviving on a single income household, surviving as a single income household is almost impossible. That's number one. And number two, the child tax credit that the Republican Party, his party, tried to ether, is literally addressing that to a certain degree. What's crazy about this is where Joe Biden and the Democratic Party should be talking about the hypocrisy. This is a gift to the Democratic Party. Just run this over and over again and be like, this dumbass keeps saying that it's the liberals that want to stop child tax credits. We're running on child tax credits. We have a bill that the Democratic president wants to sign into law that expands child tax credits. We know it's unaffordable to be a parent in this country. We want to fix that problem. And the Republican Party seemingly keeps saying, oh, this will disincentivize workers. That's what the Republicans in the Senate are saying. That's his caucus. But also, there's another thing that I want to find here. I don't know if you guys have do you have the time when he called like universal pre-K to be like weird? He said, he didn't even say it was weird. He said universal childcare is an attack on the working poor. Universal childcare is a massive subsidy to the lifestyle preferences of the affluent over the preferences of the middle and working class. The data he cites from American Compass, a conservative think tank, shows that people without a 4-year degree would prefer a situation where one parent works full-time and one parent provides childcare in the home. That's fair and honestly unsurprising as far as the options available in the survey go. I can see how that one is more appealing to many people, especially people whose low-paying jobs, quite frankly, suck. Except the reality is that if they were to adopt child tax credit expansion and also add universal childcare in general, okay, why the would the working poor say no to that? It's just not an option for them in that poll that he's using. But the first problem here is that Wilcox isn't just arguing against universal daycare. He's also arguing that Americans without a college degree would rather have direct cash assistance from the government or a wage subsidy that boosts their family's income. That's pretty much exactly what the child tax credit expansion in the American Rescue Plan does. Put cash in the pockets of parents directly every month. It's also an idea every Republican in Congress voted against as part of the full bill. President Joe Biden said in his joint address to Congress on Wednesday that he wants to make that expansion permanent. Vance would prefer a plan like the one from Senator Josh Hawley, offers smaller payments under more constrained conditions as far as policies go as a start, but wouldn't aid nearly as many families on a regular basis as Biden's proposed permanent expansion. So if that's off the table, then how about a wage increase for Americans without a college degree? They make up 78% of minimum wage workers according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and yet, nope, that's off the table too. Biden's proposal to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, which he touted again Wednesday night, is a non-starter for most Republicans. This is before the Democrats tanked that, by the way, by saying the Senate parliamentarian. When they had tried to attach it to a different bill, the Senate parliamentarian declared it to be a non-starter, and they basically turned around and said, okay, oops, we can't do that, which is why I was very angry at the Democratic Party at the time, because it was objectively stupid for the Democrats to leave this on the table and not argue on partisan boundaries, but allow the Democratic Party itself to get cooked by bullshit Senate parliamentarian appointed positions. The Heritage Foundation also argued that raising the minimum wage to $15 would come with the corresponding spike in childcare costs across the country. So they don't want to fix the problem, is what I mean.
All right, I'm giving you the New Yorker. Again, this is, the first was from the New York Times. Here's the New Yorker, How Liberals Talk About Children by Jay Caspian Kang. This is from June. This is a month ago. And it ends with the following. He talks about how, this person, Jay, talks about how the messaging from leftists around children is all about their economic value, how much they're going to cost, what kind of a burden they're going to be, as opposed to the goodness they bring into the world and our.
Oh my God, they're so dumb. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes, dude, that is a significant hurdle for average people. What is this like spiritual, holistic attitude, bro? That's the whole point. What do you mean? Wow, I can't believe leftists are talking about the material realities that basically make it impossible to have children if you want to have children, even if you want to have children. Wow.
Lives. And the piece ends as follows. We should talk about them as a universal and immutable good. So that's exactly what you did in those remarks, JD. And I understood it completely. And I think even the left, if they're honest, understand.
Are perma renters with like 8 roommates trying to make ends meet and still barely making a bag. When the weekend comes around, maybe you're using like the little bit of disposable income you have to go out and like feel like a human being again. And these guys are out here being like, why don't you just raise your children on good vibes? So there was one more thing I wanted to show you on JD Vance before we move on from that. Dude, nothing is as Rizless and as auraless as this video.
Hey guys, JD Vance here in Radford, Virginia. I thought I'd take you behind the scenes a little bit. When you get to an event, they've got a ton of crap for you to drink and eat.
What do you mean ton of crap? Like, why are you saying that? Why are you on what? It's just normal food, brother. Why are you saying it's crap?
You got 3 bottles of Diet Mountain Dew, about a dozen Snickers, a bag of chips. If I ate even half this stuff, of course, I'd balloon up like crazy. This is
oh my God, this is exactly what Ron DeSantis was doing. Oh my God. Donald Trump defeated Ron DeSantis without ever even talking to him, only to have Ron DeSantis as his vice president. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's Sugar Man. He's doing it's Sugar Man. Yeah, the ghost of Sugar Man returns.
But now you're not having puddings.
No pudding.
They're done.
No way. It's Sugar Man.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too. Oh, what is that? An icy? Yeah, that's probably a lot of sugar, huh? Good to see you.
Yeah, look at all the that makes you fat Americans. I will never have that. Even the 5 is on them.
Well, Kennedy, it seems like the Republicans are getting a big JD Vance, should I say couch-sized wake-up call.
Okay, but that's not the Republican. That's the liberal on the panel, chat. Come on. She's the liberal on the panel, but they shouldn't be laughing at that joke. Uh-oh.
Wake-up call.
You pervert. You got smut on the brain.
Did he or didn't he? Greg says that Axe is so great now, and I think JD Vance.
Wow, Buttfeld did not like that. Look at Buttfeld. Buttfeld's like, excuse me. What's the joke? The joke is that JD Vance the couch. I know the story is fake, but come on, have a little fun, guys. Even Benny Boy is disagreeing with JD Jedediah Vance. Oh my Lord, look at this.
I have to avoid. So JD Vance is the vice presidential nominee for President Trump. Now, if you had a time machine, if you go back 2 weeks, would he have picked JD Vance again? I doubt it. Back in 2021, JD Vance was appearing on Tucker Carlson's show back when Tucker's show was on Fox. And he ripped into what he called the childless cat lady culture of the Democrats, including Kamala Harris.
Guys, you don't understand. Okay, can I just make something very clear? JD Vance was a young 37-year-old. His opinions, let his opinions form. He is grown. Just like he was a young 35-year-old when he said Donald Trump is Hitler. He was a young 35-year-old who was duped by the media when he said Donald Trump is Hitler, and his opinions changed. They evolved. Oh, wait, I'm hearing that JD Vance doubled down on the childless cat lady remark. Okay, well, he's a young 39-year-old now, and his opinion will inevitably change tomorrow. Guys, liberals, they're so annoying. They're doing a no growth, and they're thinking nobody can grow from their previous positions. Oh, God, I'm so annoyed.
It's basically saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Yeah, now, I agree that our country has moved away from caring about the future because too few Americans care about having children. I totally agree with that. However, this description that JD Vance is using, is that politically smart or is it politically damaging? Now, again, he doesn't have a time machine. He can't go back and undo something he said now 3.5 years ago. With that said, Democrats are, of course, using this as a club with which to beat Donald Trump and JD Vance. They're trying to run up the gender gap. So one of the things to understand about this election cycle is that the gender gap
Ben probably didn't see JD Vance literally agree and double down on that quote today.
Is larger than it has ever been in the history of American politics in all likelihood. Males overwhelmingly vote for Trump. Females, particularly single females, overwhelmingly vote for Biden. And so they're going to try to find some sort of wedge to claim that all Republicans are sexist. And this is the wedge they're using today.
Yeah. The wedge that they're using to claim all Republicans are sexist is only the vice presidential nominee being sexist by your own estimation. What do you mean? Bro, you literally said it wasn't the best way to... You agree with it. And then even you also doubled down and agreed that like maybe it wasn't the best way to say it. Anyway, here's Tommy Lauren.
Now they've got about 100 days of a honeymoon period that might very well last 50 to 60 days, where people are still going to be just excited that they have Kamala Harris. They're not going to dig into her record. They're not going to be bothered by her record because they're going to be so excited for probably the next 50 days. Well, we've only got about 100 until a general election and even fewer to early voting.
Yeah.
So don't get too comfortable on the Trump side. And I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but the attacks on her personally, on whatever her past personally may have been, or calling her a childless lady, none of those are going to work, and they're going to make women second guess their support for what they may have felt for Donald Trump. Bad move.
Ooh, there are a lot of strong points in that for Republicans. I mean, depending on how much you love Donald Trump and do or don't like his VP pick, some of that was for JD Vance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for don't call
everyone.
women dumb. It just doesn't work. On Republican women or liberal women, it just doesn't work. There are much better ways to attack Kamala.
She's right. But once again, Republicans can't stop themselves. It's awesome. Also, new Fox News polls just came out. And boy, oh boy, is not looking too good for the Republicans, that is. Michigan, 49%, Trump 49%. Minnesota, Harris 52, Trump 46. Pennsylvania, Harris 49, Trump 49. Wisconsin, Trump 50, Harris 49%. And for the record, this like Fox News being a Fox News poll doesn't change anything. Before you say, oh, that's a Fox poll, like that means that it's even better. Like, no, they have reputable polls. They don't f around with that shit. This isn't like Rasmussen or some shit. This is like a good poll.